Hello, Aries. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Aries is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Aries, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. 9 of Cups. This is the pursuit of happiness. This is, this is following your bliss. I feel like you're somebody who, you know what you want out of life. I feel that you're somebody who is trying to, I think, find more ways to enjoy the path that we're on. Okay, we're trying to appreciate the blessings that we have in our life, but we're trying to also realize what else I want, what else I need to be happy, what is really going to fulfill my soul here. And this is not just the ego desires. This is the deeper meaning of your life. Okay, the first card in our spread is the Station card, and this is usually how we see ourselves or what's on our mind when we go to sleep at night. Our subjective experience of life. I think we feel like we're happy, but can I be more happy? Can I continue? What are some things that I have to continue doing in order to get sort of happier, right? How do I need to continue doing the right things while minimizing the wrong things? Okay, nobody's perfect, right? And I don't think you've always felt this way. I think for a long time you were kind of a pessimist, where you kind of said, nah, nothing's going to get better, right? I feel like our mindset has shifted. I feel like we're motivated now. I feel like we know that we can be happy and we want to be happy. I kind of feel like this card for you is the way we might think about our future. Not think about it, not as in, I have an idea of what's going to make me happy and I'm going to follow that idea and that's what that's what I want to do and I got a plan and all that stuff. It's almost like we're connecting with our future emotional state. How do I want to feel? Like, imagine your best life, okay? Picture it, the color of the wallpaper, the type of carpet, and all the furniture in the room. How does it feel? That's the feeling. That's what's motivating us. Because I think very often we lose motivation because we make these weird connections, Like if we're trying to, let's say we want to focus on our physical health. We think, okay, I need to start, eating better. I got to start moving my body more. Why? Well, because right now I don't feel so good. I feel tired. I feel sore. My joints ache, that sort of thing. And so we're kind of feeling like a negative emotion, but it's attached to this. It's attached to the efforts that we want to make. I know I should exercise and move my body, and I should eat healthy because right now I feel terrible. Right? And so making that connection then to our unconscious is basically saying moving my body and eating healthy equals feeling terrible. So guess what? We demotivate ourselves. I think you've discovered the trick. It's about not using one as sort of the impetus toward action. I feel terrible, so I need to start doing something about it. That's not going to motivate us. I think what we've discovered with this card is that I need to attach my emotion. I need to feel what it would feel like to be the healthy person that I want to be. So then our subconscious kind of says, if I start moving my body and eating right, I'll feel more energy. I'll feel happier. I won't get tired as quick. I'll have stamina. I'll be more flexible. I'll have more energy to go out and do the things I want to do in life. I'll have a better time with my friends and family and all these positive, and we'll feel those feelings right here in the solar plexus. It'll feel warm and fuzzy, right? And then we start associating, okay, moving my body and eating right equals that warm, fuzzy feeling. So it motivates us, right? I feel like that's the optimism of this card. And that's how this card right now in this position of the spread is motivating you. And so there's a real practical connection here. Let's keep going. We have the Eight of Swords. Yeah, it's not that easy to do, right? Because our mind, Five of Swords as well. But we have a Lust card. We've got a Four of Swords. We have this pillar of air that we need to get through to get to us actually taking those actions and beginning to do that work to draw out those physical rewards, okay? Draw out that verdant energy that's under the surface here to fulfill our potential, whatever this life has for you, whatever you're doing in your life, whatever your work is, whether that's at home, at work, employment, in school. We have a Four of Wands. We have a Devil energy. We have the Six. Yeah, the Six of Cups is perfect. But then we also have more swords with the Three of Swords. So there is the mental blockage, and I think it really does. This whole spread kind of summarizes that idea of if we keep thinking in the negative way, it doesn't matter what positive things we want to go do. We're not going to do them because we're equating them unconsciously. We're connecting them with those negative states, those negative feelings, okay? And the Three of Swords is really perfect. This is the card that says we think ourselves into a bad feeling. We don't do it intentionally, obviously, right? At least most of us, I think. We don't try to do that. But unless we change something here, unless we change the way we're thinking and the way we're processing, the way we're imagining, right? The way we're experiencing this potential energy. And we can use that example, right? As I want to feel better. I don't feel so good right now. I'm tired. I don't sleep well, but I'm always tired. I feel inflamed. My joints hurt, and etc. And so I know I need to move my body and start taking better care of my health in whatever kind of way. And you can apply this to your finances, to your work life. You can apply this to any goal that you really have. We have to frame it not as the negative emotion that I have now, and that's why I have to go do this. See, if this were a Nine of Swords, which sometimes the Nine of Swords will show up in this position, and that's exactly what the problem is. So I think that you've discovered the problem, and you're working toward approaching it from that positive way. We start with the feeling. How is it that I want to feel? And we imagine that feeling. We literally try to feel it in our body, right? If I had this goal, if I accomplished this thing, if I were living the life that I want to live, how would it feel? Because that feeling is then going to motivate us to do those actions that will bring us that result, okay? Because we're not attaching it to that negative emotional state. So I think there really is a trick here. I think you've discovered that trick. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down right here with Tiny Bob Ross right on top. We're not going to look at that happy little card until the very end, but it will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any moment during this message you feel like you might know what that card might be, put your prediction in the comments down below. Now, as we look around the room, we see just a couple of majors. We see a lust, really a pleasure-seeking kind of card, an appetite card. I'm hungry for something, right? It's kind of a motivational energy back here with the strength card. It's a Leo energy. We see the Capricorn energy here, which is the motivation, again, the driving force kind of in motion, right? It's the engine of the car that we have here. So this really is about how we're motivating ourselves. And as long as we are attaching the work that we want to do, whatever the goal is that you have, when we have that idea of doing it, we're attaching it to a negative emotional state, we're not going to do it. We're not going to motivate ourselves, right? I think you're learning how to motivate yourself because we have these major arcana energies. Something has got to fuel your fire. So it's not about us staying stuck or fixed or dwelling on how bad I feel now. And it's like, and some people can, I guess, be motivated by that, right? I think of how awful I feel, and it motivates me to change, okay? Not in this case. I think we need to imagine, not dwelling on how we feel now, but imagining how we wish to feel. Really feel it in your body, and that's visualization, by the way. It's not just about seeing something in your mind's eye. It's about feeling it in your body, in your heart and soul, that it's already happened, that it's already there, imagining what it would be like. That's motivating us to do the work to bring about that reality. Okay, that's magic, right? And so we have a little bit of fire. We've got some good water energy. Then we've got a lot of air, and we got a little bit of earth. So the Eight of Swords, the first air card we have, this is about self-sabotage. This is you realizing that we have a tendency to start thinking negatively, right? It's kind of like you're saying, yeah, gosh, I know I need to start exercising and moving my body, and I got to start focusing on what I eat and stuff, because I just really feel awful and I feel terrible. And see, we're speaking those things into existence. My joints hurt, I'm not sleeping well, I have no energy, I feel I'm getting sick all the time, like whatever it is, right? And so we're kind of reinforcing those realities. We're reinforcing those feelings, and then we start to feel those feelings again, and we're not motivated. Well, I'm so tired, and I hurt so much, and I'm so inflamed that I can't get up and go exercise or whatever. Just as an example, And so I think we're catching ourselves doing that. Because this is that card of kind of overthinking. This is the card of kind of, of our mind getting in the way of us doing what we want to do. It's a form of self-sabotage. Very often this is a card of overthinking something and not taking the actions necessary to bring about the result we want. Now, I don't know if this is something of a physical nature for you in terms of your health or your finances maybe. This could be a particular goal that you want to reach. It could be a big change that you want to make in your life. It could be something that you've been working toward for a long time already. And we're learning that I've got to keep myself motivated. I've got to understand how good I'm going to feel when I'm on this path doing this work, rather than focusing on how bad I feel now as the sort of source of the motivation, right? And again, some people can use that negative energy and they can sublimate it to positive motivation. I think what we're doing right now is we're trying not to let our mind go to those places where, I'm so tired and I'm so achy and whatever that I can't get up and go do these things. We're trying to realize that if I get up and do these things, I will feel very, very good. So it's sort of a trick of the mind in a way. It's part of the process of becoming the magician, right? We're mastering the art and science of manifestation. Manifestation works, but you got to do it right. It's not just sitting around wishing, okay? It's not just thinking about something or even visualizing it until it comes about, okay? We have to connect it with that emotion. And as soon as we can connect it with a feeling, that's going to determine the reality. Okay, we connect it with that negative feeling, and we're going to end up creating that negative state. See, the heart and the mind work together as one unit. Yeah. So your quest right now is to catch yourself when you start, when your mind starts going to those dark places where we think about how we feel now or how we don't want to feel. Right, the feelings we're trying to kind of correct or trade in for something better. Right. Start to get pessimistic, and we start to focus on, kind of those, the unwanted feelings that we have. And feelings, right? It's an emotion, but it's a body feeling. We feel the emotions in our body, right? So that's the quest, but down beneath the surface we have a Five of Swords. Five of Swords is saying basically that you've learned a lot of lessons already. This is a card of defeat. This is a card that's saying I've tried to do it and it didn't work. And maybe we're realizing that the methods that I was using, apparently those needed to change. This is the realization that we've got to change our mind about something. We've got to change the way we think about something or the way we're looking at something. I like to take this card, I like to turn it upside down, because it's kind of like we're flipping our framework of something. Okay, we're not looking at something now at the same way that we have been looking at it. Okay, and so it's saying, I don't need to look at it in this fashion. Like, I need to start doing these things because I don't want to feel awful. I don't want to be in pain. I don't want to be tired all the time or whatever. Rather than that, kind of flipping it around and saying, I want to feel good. I want to feel happy and healthy. I want to feel mobile. I want to feel energetic. So I need to start doing those things that will bring that reality about. We're reframing the way we think about it, okay, the way we talk to ourselves. And that's what the Five of Swords is. It's a lesson learned, you know. It is, it's something that something that happens in life that teaches us a lesson, helps us to reframe our narrative a little bit, okay. And so I think that you're somebody who really learns your lessons well, you know. And this card's underneath the surface here. It's something that's kind of happening inside of you. So I feel like this is a conscious effort on your part to reframe how we're looking at our life right now and how we're paying attention to our thoughts. Very often the Five, right? It's a card that's kind of waving at you and saying, hey, you got to look over here. You know, this is something that you need to sort of take control over, is how we're thinking of this situation and how we're to become aware of how our thoughts are shaping the reality, okay? That's really it. Behind you, you have your motivation. You have your lust or strength card, and that is a card of vitality. That's a card of passion, right? And that might be, you know, a card that's saying we're intensely motivated to get this done. However, sometimes our mind will interfere and we'll demotivate ourselves. Right? And we'll sort of get into a rut. Yeah. And it's very hard to get out of that rut. So I think with the lust card back here, the strength card, I think you've been already doing this work. You've been on this path for a long time already. And we maybe go through these peaks and valleys where we are just so motivated, things are going really, really well, and then maybe something happens. Let's say you're going to the gym every day, you're really focused on what you eat, what you put into your body, and you're moving your body intentionally, whether it's through gym or exercise or through dance or just through playing or sports or martial arts. You're very active and you feel like everything's going great, and then maybe you get a cold and you get sick for a couple days. And that sort of like, it takes away all that momentum, and then it's harder for us to recover from that. It's harder for us to get back to doing those things again because we start to realize how bad we feel, and then our mind sort of gets attached to those negative emotions, those negative body feelings. Yeah. And and then we're sort of creating we're perpetuating those negative states. Okay. So the Four of Swords, I think, up top here is a way that you are, you're trying to correct the work of the Five. See, we have a 5, and anytime we get a 4, we start looking for the 5. Anytime we get a 5, we start looking for the 4. So I feel like we're learning the lesson, and we're sort of integrating that into our mind, and we're understanding why it's so important that we maintain a sort of positive internal dialogue. Okay, that we focus on the emotional state that we want, because that's motivating us to do the work to create the future that we wish to have. Okay, we want to create this. The Four of Swords is a card of truce. It's a card of mental fortification. Okay, I think that you're somebody who likes, in a way, I feel like you like data. You know, I feel like you like to run an experiment and get the information and figure out how we incorporate that information into our next move. You know, I think you probably like numbers, or you like spreadsheets, or you like some kind of organization. Yeah. And Spirit's saying you really like thunderstorms as well. Yeah. The Four of Swords is that kind of mental fortification, that we're trying to organize our thoughts. We're trying to protect ourselves, our life, our energy, our future, our work, our activities, whether this could be something at school, this could be your employment, what you do for money. It could be your physical health and well-being, your financial health, etc. But this is a big wall of thoughts. This is the big mental energy that sort of gets in the way of us just doing this. I mean, this is just where it's at. This is perfect. This is that horizontal plane that we want. We're motivated, we're feeling good about what we're doing, and we're manifesting the goal. The goal is materializing before our eyes. This dry and desiccated land, whatever the before picture is, you can see slowly starting to come to life. This is a card that is slowly morphing into the Empress card. slowly this just starts to grow, and you see all the green energy starting to rise from the bottom of the card. And this whole thing is going to be filled with life. Why? Because you're motivated. And you're motivated because you are chasing this particular feeling state. And in a way, this is kind of like, we're chasing a particular feeling. Yeah, but this is a deep feeling. It's not just I'm chasing pleasure. No, we see pleasure over here. We got happiness. Okay, so I know what this feeling is. I know that if I'm living my best life, this is how it's going to feel. And so this is the carrot, in front of the horse here, that's drawing us forward here. But of course, we have all this air energy that says we have course corrections to make. Sometimes we stumble. We get taught a lesson by life, and that just helps us to learn more about who we are and about what works for us and about what doesn't work for us. This Princess of Pentacles, like I said, is going to transform into the Empress. Okay, and this is your near future. So as long as we're very aware of what's going on mentally and we avoid going into those pitfalls, we're going to manifest the success here. Everything is going to change. Okay, because we're understanding the feeling tone that we want, that emotional state. We're feeling how good it's going to feel when we're doing this work and this is starting to grow, and we know we can taste it already how good we're going to feel. Then we're going to be motivated. But we're going to get into these ruts sometimes where we start to have that negative internal dialogue. And we start to think about how we feel now versus how we want to feel. Okay. Now, Path of the Serpent, we're going to talk about these cards. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. Okay. Your general energy is the Four of Wands. This is the card of completion. This is the card, to me, that's saying we've been on this road before, that we've had this cycle continue. I think that we go through these kind of phases, ups and downs. We go round and round the merry-go-round, right? Which I think is that we get intensely motivated, we work really, really hard, something happens, and we stop. We get some kind of a roadblock, an obstacle, we get an interruption. And that's kind of what's happening with this air energy. We kind of hit a wall mentally where it's just like, oh, wait, either something doesn't show up when we expected it to, or somebody says something, or we start our mind just sort of drifts into this negative thinking, and we sort of come to a grinding halt. And sometimes it takes us a minute to recover from that. I think you're understanding now how, that's what happens with me. I go through this cycle and I end up stopping because something happens, like me with, doing my physical intentional movement. I was riding the recumbent bike for a long time, right? But then I got sick. I got a little cold and I didn't ride for a couple days. And then I didn't ride for months afterward because I fell into that rut. Okay? And if we understand that we have that tendency and we understand how the mind works in that fashion, we can pull ourselves out of that quicker. Instead of thinking about, oh gosh, I'm so awful, my chest is congested, I have a headache, I got a cough, my body aches, I don't feel good at all. And we're not going to be motivated to do anything to improve that. Especially when I start thinking about, oh gosh, I feel so terrible, I really need to get back on the bike. Then your mind, your unconscious starts to connect, riding that bike, feeling icky, feverish, feeling achy, and feeling sore and tired. And so it says, okay, well, we better not do the bike because the bike equals those bad feelings, right? And so we're learning to pull ourselves out of that quicker by realizing, okay, I'm going to feel good. I'm going to be breathing easier. My muscles are going to feel good. My body's going to feel so nice and healthy and strong, and it's going to make my mood's going to get better. I'm going to feel so good riding that bike. And because while I'm doing it and then after I'm done and over the long term, it's going to feel better and better. Then the mind starts connecting those things, riding the bike and those good feelings, yeah? And so we're understanding that this has happened before. We know how to get out of this. You have the devil energy in your environment. This is you getting motivated. Okay? You have to learn about yourself, and that's what the air energy is doing, learning about what motivates you. Okay? This is the engine of the car, what fuels your engine. Okay? This is a creative drive, an aggressive drive, and a pleasure drive. And I think right now it is kind of that, it's kind of that pleasure drive that's working for you the most. Because we can all think, well, it'd be very good if I did this because it's a good goal to have. And I should be doing that. It's all mental, logical, left brain stuff. And it's kind of, or we can motivate ourselves by saying, other people are doing it, and I don't want those people to do better than me, so I'm going to motivate myself with this kind of competitive energy, yeah? I think right now you're motivating yourself with more of the pleasure drive. Thinking, for me personally, subjectively, this is going to feel good. I'll feel my life is getting better, I'll feel happier, I'll feel more energetic, all those positive things, right? So we're sort of using our own subjective feeling state as the primary motivator here. So we have the generative drive, aggressive drive, and the pleasure drive, okay? And the generative drive, you know, they usually say that should be the very top of the pyramid, right? Because that's kind of saying like, I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do. I'm doing this because it's improving my life. It's improving the quality of life for myself and others, you know? And so it's a kind of a lofty goal to have. And this is kind of like we have that as the why we're doing it, well, because it's the right thing, you know? But sometimes that's not enough to motivate us. Sometimes, yeah, of course, it's the right thing to do, and it's going to improve your life, and you know, it's a good goal to have. But that feeling connection needs to be there too. And I think that's what you're using right now. You're realizing that having the negative feeling tone is demotivating you. That's what's preventing you from getting going. Maybe your generative drive is strong. Your aggressive drive is strong. But we're associating the work with the negative feeling state, and we're not motivated. It's one part of that trio of drives that's not kicking into gear. I think you're understanding that you're kicking it into gear by changing the way you think. Okay. And of course, the Six of Cups, the actual pleasure, is in the position of your obstacle. Maybe this is similar to over here, realizing that in a grander sense, long-term, bigger picture, right? Your motivation is chasing this deeper sense of purpose. The deeper, my life is going to get better physically, financially, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, creatively, long-term. Over the course of time, it's something that can be sustained. It's something that is going to function over and over again. This is really, while I'm doing it, I'm going to feel better. After I do it, I'm going to feel better. And over the course of days and months and weeks and years, I'm going to continue to feel better and better and better and better, right? So this is bigger picture because it's a 9. It's a function. It's a verb. It's an odd number, okay? So this is bigger picture pleasure drive. But in the day-to-day, your devil is just chasing that good feeling of today. This is just the one day I want to feel better today. So really, it's like we know that it's a long-term sort of, it's a marathon, right? Not a sprint, but we have to think of it as one day at a time. And it's not even really saying I want to do better than yesterday. Maybe yesterday was a really good day, right? Maybe I don't want to, maybe I can't do as well as I did yesterday. I want today to just feel good. It doesn't have to be the best feeling I've ever had. I'm not trying to one up myself from yesterday. I don't need to sort of to do better than yesterday. Every day is its own unit. So the Six of Cups to me is a perfect day. I'm going to make today feel good. I'm going to make sure that I feel as good as I can today doing, and obviously this isn't just chasing, immediate gratification. This is, doing those things that we know on the long-term sort of, scale, but taking it one day at a time, taking it one activity, one moment at a time. I'm going to try to do my very best right now in this moment, and it's going to feel good because I'm doing my very best. So it's not even, because sometimes we compare ourselves to yesterday. Oh God, yesterday I was so good. I rode 10 miles on the bike, and yesterday was perfect. And we start to think, I can't top that. There's no way I can do as good as I did yesterday. And so again, we're demotivating ourselves. Rather say, I'm going to do my very best right now today, and it's going to feel good today. 24-hour blocks of time. We live in those units. One day is one contained unit for us. And that's what the Six of Cups is. Trying to find that fulfillment today, not in comparison with yesterday or tomorrow, but right now, today, knowing that what I do today is affecting my future, of course. Okay. We're chasing that pleasure of the day, yeah. And the Three of Swords at the end here is quite interesting as well, because the Three of Swords is how we understand the process of change on the intellectual plane. We know that the way we think about life is going to change the way we experience life. this is your view, your thoughts, your mind changing. Okay? This is then the kind of new state that's created, and then this is, we're going to change our mind again. And as we notice our thoughts start to entangle us, we're going to correct that by sort of taking control of our thoughts and kind of stabilizing them again, so that we can focus on what we want to focus on. The Three of Swords here is really us understanding the deeper levels of that kind of psychology, how our mind works, why it thinks the way it does. And I think really with the Three of Swords, we learned something a long time ago. Somehow we've been programmed to focus on the negative stuff, to focus on how bad we feel, and maybe, I don't know, maybe that's how our parents were, or somewhere along the line we learned that. And so this is something that's not really easy to change. In fact, we probably can't change it. We can't undo years of that kind of, instruction. But what we can do is understand when it starts to happen, and we can correct it. We can go from a 4 to a 5 to a 4, and we try to stay balanced the best we can. Because we can't undo our psychology. There's no cure for our mind, right? There's no way to fix anything, and nothing is broken. It's just that's the way it's been built, okay? And so what we need to do is just pay attention. Pay attention to what our thoughts are doing and how that's creating our reality, and say, okay, well, if I just change my thoughts, if I try to then focus my mind on those positive feelings on the day-to-day, I'm going to do that. I'm going to feel better after I do it. I'm going to feel better while I'm doing it, and I'm going to feel better long-term. Then we're more likely to do it, because our mind is going to start associating that activity, whatever it is for you. We're going to start associating that activity with the positive feelings that we want to have, that we're going to have short-term, medium-term, and long-term, rather than focusing or associating that activity with the negative state that we feel now. Whether that's the negative state, like my body doesn't feel good because I'm not moving it intentionally, right? And I haven't focused on my physical health, my workouts, and my exercise and stuff. Or if it is, we're focusing too much on even the guilt or the shame, that's saying, oh God, I've slacked off for so long, I feel terrible, I feel guilty that I haven't started, and it's been so long now that there's just no way I can get back to it, and it's too much time has gone by, and I don't even know how to do it anymore, and I probably couldn't even ride for a mile or two before getting tired, and it's just awful. Of course we're not going to do it. That's the Three of Swords at work. Okay? And the Three of Swords is reminding us that whatever feeling we're feeling right now, even if it has nothing to do with what you're technically doing right now, to our mind, our body, and our soul, these feelings are happening right now. Our feelings don't care about past, present, or future. Okay? So if that makes sense from the past perspective and kind of how I'm maybe feeling right now, as a way to kind of demotivate ourselves, then it makes sense that if I can feel the good feelings, even if I have to use my mind intentionally to trick myself, and imagine, visualize with your body, all your senses, what it would feel like to be doing the activity, and afterwards and long-term, feel the happiness. You're tricking your soul into imagining that's how you feel now. And those feelings are happening now, and those positive emotions are going to motivate you to continue doing that thing, because your unconscious is saying, wow, these feelings are great. I want more of these good feelings. I better keep riding the bike, because that's what you're making. You're making that psychological connection, you see. So this is that card of understanding that process. Let's look at the mystery card. I think Empress, right? Or I think some kind of fire for more motivation, yeah. I feel like we need a little bit more wands, maybe an Ace of Wands, 6 of Wands or something. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments down below. Let's see what we have. Yeah, the Ace of Wands, perfect. Because this is us getting motivated again. We're motivating ourselves by focusing on those positive feelings. And then that gives us this surge of energy, and we're going to be back on the horse, whatever this activity is for you. We're getting to it. We're getting back to it. We're getting motivated to go hard on it. Whatever, work, home, school, physical, financial, doesn't really matter. This is the initiative. This is that fiery motivation. This is that willpower that's kicking in and saying, I can't wait to do it. I'm going to do it today. Today is a whole self-contained unit. Doesn't matter what you did yesterday. If you didn't do it yesterday, or you did, or whatever, it doesn't matter. Tomorrow doesn't matter. Make today do the best you can today. Make today give you that positive feeling, that positive reward. Okay? It doesn't matter how long it's been since you've done this, or if you allow yourself to focus on how bad you feel now, right? Focus on how good you're going to feel, and imagine that you're feeling that way now, and use that energy to start this thing again, whether this is something physical, or if it's a work thing, or if it's a skill, a martial art, something, some kind of activity, right? I think this is really good. This is perfect. And now we're going to do an extended reading as well. We'll do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards. New readings for Aries. You got to check the calendar for your new readings. They're on a new day and time. Okay? This is your bonus reading. The bonus readings today are going to be all cardinal signs. Okay? So you can watch your Aries reading. You'll do your Cancer, Libra, and your Capricorn readings will be today. Okay? The Sunday bonus day. Anyway, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we are all in this together.